early the next morning, we met up with the group downtown, loaded up, and off we went under the watchful eye of a police escort. Maybe the police were just our guide out of a busy city, or maybe they were there making sure we were getting out of town by sundown. I wasn't sure exactly why they were there. We did have our undercover government agent still on our tail, and soon we would find out the federal police were interested in us too.
We can film them, and they need to be aware that we know that they're there. They want us to create a sense of fear and paranoia so we can be off of our feet and not be aware, and most importantly, so we don't achieve our political objectives.
We stopped for lunch at this charming little roadside eatery. After a quick but delicious roadside lunch, we were off again and feeling great until the federal police spoiled the party.
The bus in front of us, we don't know why they stopped it. They didn't give us a good reason.
My producer and I were being asked to get off the bus by the police. They wanted our tapes. The caravan lawyer said not to get off or they might arrest us. Once I turned off the camera, I realized, holy crap, like this is actually happening. The cops are out there trying to like get us to, give their footage. Are they gonna put us in jail? It was a little bit frightening, and I won't lie, I was a little bit shaken up by the experience.
The compañeros here that are filming and documenting this caravan had been filming since we left. The police officers caught notice of that and used that as a pretext to try to get on the bus or get two individuals off of the bus. We refused to let people get down, and we claimed the right of these compañeros as journalists to film whatever it is that they felt was necessary for the reporting that they're doing. But in no way were we breaking any laws or anything.
As day turned into night, Carlos and I talked about security issues. Why are they giving us special attention over anybody else?
Well, I think they heard you were on the bus. So
That's all my fault?
That might be one reason. I don't know if they want your autograph or what. But there's no guaranteed rights anymore. The state does whatever it wants, where it wants, whenever it wants. I mean, there's always a danger in exposing the truth.
We carried on in our trek, though way behind schedule, so we skipped Puebla and went straight to Veracruz. So I was just about to nod off of the bus, and then we did a pit stop here instead in Veracruz. And all of a sudden it became this explosion of people here, kind of praising and supporting La Via Campesina and the whole group and the whole caravan. It's been a fun night so far.
Climate change and what's been happening with the climate has been impacting here in his town of Veracruz. It's colder now. It should be warmer. How strong the hurricane was, that's not normal. He wants people to know that there's a lot of life and beauty in this country.
What is the main reason why they fight, why they're part of this resistance?
Pues lo que pasa es que hay una resistencia amplia, ¿no? En contra de un modelo de vida salvaje.
We're not just fighting for our piece of land or one river, but I'm fighting for other stuff that is affecting all of us. It's still a lot of native people that are still living in the natural way, and we have spaces that are being taken away from us. That's the fight we're here for.
It's very powerful.
Es muy poderoso lo que dijiste.
Sí. También, o sea, en parte, pues.
We not just fight for the environment. That's just one of the fights. We all fight also for social justice and economic justice. And we think capitalism is one of the biggest pressures that we deal with.
What might they do in case we got stopped again by police and they tried to actually stop the whole caravans from continuing on to Cancun?
De que la puedan parar, probablemente sí, ¿no?
We have a saying that if one is in trouble, like we all gonna be in trouble and we're all gonna be together.
Feeling rejuvenated, we carried on into the foggy night, trying to make up for lost time. By the time the next day arrived, we were in Coatzacoalcos, one of the largest and most polluted industrial areas in all of Mexico. going to a small town impacted by a petroleum plant to hear the local stories.
Emily, Chad,
We managed to get on the bus trip to see the local petroleum plant that was causing so much damage to the area. The bus we took was older than the town itself, I think, and was pouring rain, so it was an adventure of its own. As we approached the petroleum plant, it had a fortress-like feel to it.
gross, eh?
Yeah, it's pretty disgusting. You can't even really see much further than where we're looking because the air is so polluted already here.
A local activist there told us the story of the impact the petroleum plant had on the area.
There are substances that they dispose of that the Mexican law does not regulate. So there is no way to change something. We'd have to change the law. It is not regulated. So we would go and tell them you're over the international limits. There's nothing they cannot do because it's not on the list of regulated toxins. So this principal toxin is PBC that they produce in this complex. So we can't even get too close because there is a law that says that if you get too close, it's an act of terrorism. There are different points of views in this area. It does bring employment, 20 to 50,000 employment. We're saying they need cleaner politics, cleaner refinery. The fact that they don't even regulate themselves, there is no intention or desire to improve.
And it's the same story that's happening in the tar sands, the same story that's happening here, the same story that's happening in a lot of places around the world. You know, I get that there's the other side of it, and that for a lot of people, this is their job and this is their means of livelihood, you know, and that this really does build up our economy. And I know for Canada, that's a huge part of our economy is the tar sands. I do get all that. So let's look at the bigger picture here. Do we want life and to survive, or do we want to make a little more cash?
Get back in the bus, and we'll get escorted out of the premises.
Now, I understand that he's a fisherman, so, is this affecting his livelihood and his business?
Dice que tú eres pescador.
Bueno, nosotros los desechos, pues los...
The fish are contaminating, especially with metal. There is less and less fish, so they are losing money and the government doesn't do anything.
Why is the caravan so important?
Pues porque llevan el mensaje de...
Because they are bringing the message from us who are suffering to our authorities and to the world.
It had been a dreary and depressing day, so when a spontaneous celebration happened in the community, it was a welcome relief.